Hello and welcome to the Tower Coffee Hour, the news outlet for the Miller neighborhood in Austin. We had a chance to visit with some of the folks from Rethink 35, who are working as a ground root organization to block the expansion of I-35 and try to do something that's good for the community. I think it's important that our neighborhood understand what's going on, so I went to a meeting and took a little video. And here it is.
Hello.
This is me clapping for you since you're coming. It's so good to see everyone. I feel like I've met half of you before, but I hope that you meet as much of the team as possible. My name's Kelsey Hughes. I'm Director of Mobilization for Rethink 35. So my job is to get as many people involved as possible, make sure they're happy, make sure they're doing something that matters, and we're so glad that you're here. So each of us has a reason why we oppose this expansion, right? So think about what your reason is, because it matters. My reason is I hate I-35. I've driven it my whole life, even when I was a kid. Most of our family was in San Antonio, and I lived in Oklahoma with my family. And we drive down here every year for Thanksgiving, and we always went around Austin. We did not want to go through I-35 through Austin. It's dangerous, it's always busy, it's not safe, and so we went around the city on 130. A lot of people don't do that because it's a tollway. So the first part of our plan is we don't want an interstate going through the city, we want to route it around. And people are going to say, how are you going to do that? And it is possible. So recently, Syracuse, New York decided to tear down their highway through downtown, make it more pedestrian friendly, bikeable, and route traffic around. It is a different state, but we're seeing that it is possible, and that's what we want. So that's part one of our plan. You may wonder why we have an interstate going directly through the city. It doesn't really make sense, right? So in the 1920s, Austin's master plan said we're going to have all of the white people living on the west side of town, west of East Avenue, and then all of the African American, Mexican American people are going to live on the east side. And so at that time, East Avenue is what separated white Austin from non-white Austin. The avenue was just your standard avenue. There wasn't these elevated highways, it wasn't an interstate yet. Once we started building interstate highways, all the cities got to decide where to put these interstates, and naturally, because of segregation, they wanted to further disconnect the black and brown communities from the white communities. That is why it goes directly through the city. It doesn't make sense for traveling. If you're going from San Antonio to Oklahoma, you don't need to go through downtown. We're saying we're done with that plan. We don't want these east and west side disconnected. It sucks, it's outdated, and we're done with it. Woo-hoo. Yes. So we want to tear it down and reconnect east and west, right? So that's the second part of our plan, is to stop the expansion and, second and third part, stop the expansion and tear it down. It feels really hopeless right now because TxDOT is this huge entity. They have a lot of money. This is a $5 billion project. It may feel like there's nothing we can do. We've been canvassing for the past couple weekends, going door to door, and a lot of the times people answer and they say, how are you going to do this? And we say, we don't care. We're going to get as many people as possible to support our plan so that we have enough power of the people to tell them that this is not what we want. I swear like 95% of the people we talk to are with us. It's just up to us to mobilize them and to make them feel like it's possible to stop this, and we will stop this. That's why all of you are here today. And so I hope that all of you feel like there's something that you can do. And it doesn't matter if you have 5 minutes a week or 5 hours a week. You can write to people on Twitter, people running for city council, and tell them that you want them to support Rethink 35. You can email them, you can post on Nextdoor. Just spread the word about Rethink 35. That is the minimum thing that you can do, and that matters. If you have more time, come canvassing with us. It's super fun. I think probably half of the people here have done it, so feel free to talk about it. If it's something that you've never done before and you're scared of going house to house and trying to talk to people about a plan, you don't have to talk your first time. You're paired with a buddy, so you can just carry the clipboard and write down the notes, and you'll learn from the person that you're paired with, and I promise you'll make a new friend. We have a general meeting this coming Thursday if you want to get involved more. So if you want to have a job, such as working on events like this, maybe tabling at something like Mueller's Farmers Market, maybe talking to businesses and having them put a petition in their coffee shop or other kinds of business so that people can sign there, that would be a huge impact for us, and we would love to have you on board. So if you're interested, come on Thursday. It's an online meeting. Anyone who's a Rethink member should be able to invite you to that if you need information. Let's see, did I miss anything? Okay, Dick.
I'm Dick Kellerman with the Sierra Club. TxDOT, with any project, particularly projects of this size, they need public input.
Yes.
And they have public hearings regularly. Picture a public hearing at TxDOT and us showing up.
Yeah.
Really get a lot of attention. And everybody gets a couple of minutes at the microphone too. So
Yeah.
I don't know when these public hearings are offhand, but let's keep an eye on that.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of us spoke at the event last weekend with a bunch of folks from Houston. The folks from Houston are with Stop TxDOT I-45, and they're trying to do the same thing in Houston, but tear down even more homes and businesses. So here in Austin, the expansion will tear down 140 homes and businesses, I think. In Houston, it's thousands. And Houston has filed a civil rights lawsuit, so they've paused their expansion, but they're an amazing group. They're high energy, they're getting stuff done, and they're our allies. So again, there's a bunch of projects. We can shut it down. But yeah, thank you, Dick. Anyone else? Did I miss anything else?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Danielle. I'm the fundraising director. And just so you know, we have yard signs and stickers and stuff you guys can take home. It's all free, but if you would like, it'd be great. We are a community cause. It's all of you guys helping us here, and we do need as much donations as possible to keep this going. We can reach more people with all your help, even just coming in here or giving us some resources to be able to do that. So please feel free to take our stickers and our yard signs and go and give them to your neighbors, to people you know. And also, it would be greatly appreciated if you guys could help our cause in any way possible. So thank you. I just wanted to say that. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you.
Should we do questions?
Yeah, Dick,
Okay.
any questions?
Other questions?
You guys have Venmo?
Yes. Forrest?
Yeah.
What's
Forrest, so you said that TxDOT has like a $5 billion budget for this.
Mhm.
So do we have an alternative proposal for how they can spend that? Like maybe eliminating the tolls on 130 or something like that?
Okay, great question. So City Council they funded a study to do the cap and stitch, which is putting concrete caps over. They have not done a study for Rethink 35. So they have not done a study for how much it would cost to tear it down and put a boulevard. We want them to do that. So that's part of our plan, is getting City Council to study an alternative. We don't know how much it would cost. I doubt it would be $5 billion, but we don't know. Yeah, we need that information though. Great
Cool.
question.
Question. I'm Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
When are they really deciding?
They've already decided.
Okay.
They've already decided. Now they're refining the plans. So they are doing caps right now, but both of the access roads are on this side of the highway. it's disgusting. There's like, it's chaotic. And then they're expecting the caps to be put into parks or like made into parks, but they're estimating that at $800 million, which Austin would have to fund.
Okay. Yeah. So are they deciding like the final plan? Because I saw like a couple.
I don't,
No,
I
so
don't
they're
think so.
still in the planning process right now. And what happened was they were getting closer about a year ago to finishing that final process without the caps. But then Austin kind of pushed back with this organization called Austin Downtown Alliance. You can look them up, to do caps and stitches, and that kind of postponed it from being finalized. And now they're kind of doing multiple alternatives to it, which is includes caps and stitches. So that does give us a little bit of a leeway, because maybe we could continue pushing that narrative and continue to postpone it so we can actually get something that will benefit Austinites more. So that's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
So it's not finalized yet.
Thank you, Gina. No, okay. Hannes, did you have a question?
The main question I have at this point, after, you know, like I'm on the Hancock Neighborhood Association Transportation Committee, and we put statements out last fall as part of that process, etc. My big question is, like, how do we know where exactly to invest all our limited, resources, especially limited in comparison to what TechStat is working with? Like, do you guys have a sense of, we need to lobby, with the city primarily, or it's more like neighbors? Do we need to be, I don't know, putting out memes and, a social media buzz or something? Or do we need, I don't know, lawyers and politicians to like fight TechStat on a state level or federal, support? You mentioned the civil rights lawsuit in Houston. Like, how to decide where to spend our time and energy?
That's a big question. I feel like we need all of it. What our group is focusing on is getting individuals in Austin aware of our plan, aware of the expansion. A lot of people don't even know about the expansion. And then getting city council to, as a front, oppose the expansion and support our plan. So going door to door, talking with people, getting more petition signatures, that's what our focus is right now. But probably all of it.
Austin City Council has a lot of sway. So if we can get them on our side, even just get one counselor to endorse us, is incredible. And that's kind of what we're focusing in on, is getting Austin City Council on our side. And I think the people will determine if they're on our side or not. So.
Mhm.
Half of them are up for election in November.
Yep.
Not a great answer, but I hope that helps.
No, it's good.
Brian?
Do we have like any candidates that are up for election in November that we would want to see supported, or like can we try to get this on their ballot? Is that kind of like the goal?
District 9 is huge because that's part of Cherrywood and downtown. What else?
Pretty much all of them. We need them all.
We need all of them.
We need all of them because that's the only way it will work.
There are 4 candidates for District 9. All 4 of them are against
The expansion.
I-35.
Yeah.
All 4 of them.
It's good to
We
know.
support them, then we're supporting a counselor that's against I-35.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have to look at that. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a passionate.
Andrew, did you have a question?
So should that be part of our canvassing then, to support the candidates that are against I-35? Because that's like the most actionable thing people can do, right?
I think when we're canvassing, we get them to sign.
Yeah.
Once they sign, we input them onto our petition, so then they're on our mailing list. And since we have their address, we can target each district with emails. So I think the important thing is just get them on the mailing list. But I think maybe we could talk to Adam or the research team about that, because that might be a good idea.
Because a lot of it, think about, running these campaigns, that it takes, you don't want to, we need to talk to them first, make sure they're endorsing us as well. It's kind of a two-way thing. So if you want to be a part of the policy committee and like start working on that, anyone here wants to be part of that, that's what they're doing. You can be a part of that, And so that's kind of the I would say our focus is just Rethink 35. We want to rethink 35. We don't. That's our focus. We're going to go to door to door. We're going to knock on their doors. We're going to tell them we want to stop the expansion. And I think that's what we will continue focusing our energy on until we get more clarity on the candidates and what's going on. So,
Yeah.
Is there a way we can get FaceTime with these counselors?
We want to, yeah. So, yeah.
What are the steps to getting the FaceTime with them, I guess? Is it like if we get enough people, can we kind of make a push to get talk time with them, or?
Chris, do you want to talk?
I was going to say something. I've been to a couple of things with city councilors, like candidates, and it's actually really easy to talk to them if you just go to a campaign event. Local politics is usually super low energy. I went to Block Walk once for Cheeto Vela in District 4, and like I immediately walked in to do the block walking, and I met him. He shook my hand, and we had a conversation. And like, that was a special election. And it's not as big as like District 9, but I think you would be surprised how like if you attend an event that they're at, or if you go to one of their campaign events, it is actually not unlikely that you could just walk up to them and be like, this is what I care about. I care about the I-35 expansion. Do you have a plan? What are your thoughts? What do you think about Rethink 35? I mean, I just think that even I'm really new at this, and even I was honestly really surprised how quickly you can get to know a couple of your own city. Like half the city count, like it is not. There's just not. There's not enough energy at local elections that it's not like trying to get access to a U.S. senator or even a state representative. So that's all. That's all I wanted to bring up.
So FYI, pizza will be here in about 25 minutes. But yeah, if y'all have any more questions, keep on loading them on. If not, we can go back to mingling, and feel free to eat, drink,
Forest.
forage what we have brought.
I guess with the third part of the plan, the rethinking part, I guess one of the points of pushback that I can see is that the point of the expansion is to, I guess, help traffic and get people where they're trying to go faster. And so people are going to be concerned, like, oh, how do we still get to where we're going without it taking an hour? And I think that there's a fraction of the traffic on I-35 that's just passing through.
Yeah.
But I don't know the number, but I don't think it's the majority.
Yeah.
And so there's still a lot of people just going from like South Austin to North Austin or something.
Yeah.
And what are we gonna kind of tell them?
Okay, great.
Yeah.
This is what I forgot in my speech. Okay, awesome. First of all, TxDOT does not use induced demand in their traffic estimates, and their estimates have been wrong historically. So induced demand is the idea of whatever you build is what people are going to use and what people are going to demand. So for example, I live on South Lamar. I had to drive here because I felt that was the safest way for me to travel from there to here without taking an hour and a half taking the bus and walking over, right? However, if there was a protected bike lane on South Lamar, if I-35 was not this mess of what it was and it had bike lanes or express bus lanes, I might have felt safer to travel a different way. We've also seen with Katy Freeway in Houston that expanding does not alleviate traffic, and it made traffic 40% worse within 3 years. So we know expanding doesn't work. So we have to rethink how people get around the inner city and get them out of cars. So a recent survey found that about 55% of people in Austin did not want to drive but had to drive. Let's get them out of cars so that they feel safer doing something else. And that would be part of rethinking what this highway is.
Do you mind if I say something again?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I'm part of an organization called Aura, as well as Rethink 35, and they had, I think they started originally to push the light rail, but like in 2020, Austin passed Project Connect, right? And it was a huge deal, and I think something like 60% of the voters approved it or something like that. And basically the point I'm trying to make is that Austin over the next 10 years, not even 10 years, I think maybe the timeline is looking at 7 years now, but by like 2030 or something like that, Austin is supposed to invest like $7 to $10 billion in redoing all of our transit. 2 new light rail lines, multiple new bus lines, electric buses. Like, it is a huge investment in Austin's public transit. And the timeline is actually really unfortunately overlapped with the I-35 expansion in a way that like makes, so like, I guess to your, well, like the reason I saw that is that I think that like, there's also this thing where I don't necessarily know that they're taking account into the fact that Austin is moving in a direction that's supposed to be away from cars, and we're investing billions of dollars. Like, the plan is already happening and is supported by a majority of Austinites to get people into walking, biking, trains, and buses. And so like, if we just continue, of course, like, they're probably in their own world thinking, well, everyone's going to be driving in 2030, and maybe nothing's going to change, but we're trying to move in this direction and they're moving in the other direction. And I think that like, I guess the idea I'm trying to get at is that even just delaying I-35 a lot could be a huge win, because in that time you could get so much. We could have Project Connect and Light Rail, and then people will see that maybe there's an alternative, right? And so that's all I wanted to say. That like,
and to jump onto that, so in Houston they put that pause on the expansion of I-45, and like you were saying, stalling is an excellent tactic. So when I was talking to some of the Houston folks about how they were running things, their plan is basically to just stall as long as they can, because as they do, the costs increase for the expansion. So the longer they do that, the less likely they will continue to go through, because it has already like risen by $3 billion in cost over the last year that it has been halted from being gone through with. So if we were able to get a pause on the expansion of I-35, and we were able to show people that something like Project Connect works, and that people will take light rail and congestion is eased, then it will doubly show that we don't need it and that money can go elsewhere.
I mean, even I-35's $5 billion number like comes from before. I mean, there was something in the news about Project Connect, like they're having to rethink like the cost of what's going to happen a little bit. And they're in a better position. They're saying they're not going to have to go back to the voters for extra money because it's funded through property taxes, and the taxes are going to go up with the cost of land. But I don't think that's true of I-35. They've budgeted this much for it, but if the price of land and housing in Austin is skyrocketing, they're going to have to pay more money to everybody and all the businesses and all the land. And so, like, yeah, delaying increases costs and makes like, yeah, I mean, like, it can make a big difference, I think. So, like, and so, like, I don't even know, like, I feel like TxDOT doesn't necessarily have the same. I feel like the Project Connect people are trying to be really open and forward with it. As soon as the news came out, they're like, oh, look, our costs might go up. But, like, no one from TxDOT is out there that I've seen so far saying, you know, we might actually have to spend $10 billion now, or I don't know, because construction costs are going up, land costs are going up. So, yeah, I mean, just to add on.
Let's wrap up on questions, since I know it's raining a bit and the pizza's coming, but we're happy to answer more questions. Any of the Rethink 35 members, raise your hand if you're available for questions. Okay, Danielle, me, yeah. So in conclusion, get a sticker, get a yard sign up on our sign-in sheet so that we know that you're here. We have a meeting next Thursday, 6 p.m. online. Get involved in volunteering and working groups. And is that it? I think that's it. Okay, thanks everyone.